Hi. So, I didn't always make my money by creeping people the fuck out. Well, actually, I haven't been paid very well for that either, but it's been a living of sorts. But I get ahead of myself. For about 7 years after graduating from an upstanding liberal arts university, this was my day job. And I love telling people that I did this for a job, standing outside, freaking people out, everywhere I went. Because people always wanted to ask, who the fuck is that guy? Hello? It's not so easy to describe as Amanda fucking Palmer standing there because, to be honest, this is my first time standing on a stool wearing a thing I found on the side of the road. It's a mask. But I'd like to tell you about some of these things and some of what I've been doing for the last 7 years. You might say, well, why wear the mask? Because nobody paid attention to me before I put on the mask. Or some shit. Well, you're not paying attention to me anyway. And that's okay. I don't find you that interesting. You will. In time. Or not. So, can't actually see what I'm doing here. Let's see what I'm doing. Hello. So I found this on the side of the road in St. Louis. Maybe I get ahead of myself a little bit. Shortly after having a really interesting night at the end of December of 2012, I'm not going to tell you about that now. I traveled up and had a wonderful meal with a number of friends at my brother's intentional community house, the H.P. Lovecraft House. And there were 8, 9, 10 or so of us gathered around a table. And we talked about many things, and one of the things that we talked about was the formation of an 8-member barbershop quartet that would play klezmer, jazz, punk rock, funk, whatever music. And this band was called, by the beautiful Rochelle Hudson, the Popes of Discordia. And I didn't know anything about Discordianism at the time, I just liked the name. And we remembered the name, we talked about it, and we talked about autobiographical phylomimetic trees, and yoga, and atheism, and death. Anyway, so, if you think about the word Popes of Discordia, perhaps you will understand what kind of image I might be striking. But again, I get ahead of myself. Everything that I have here is stuff I've worn just because I needed things to wear. Except for this. This is just pretty. Still functional in terms of its beauty. So, shortly after that amazing night at the end of December that I'm not telling you about, I traveled out to my friends at the St. Louis Catholic Worker House, and they put me up, and we were doing a morning meditation by a Jesuit priest who goes by Anthony DeMeo, and I can't remember what the meditation was. It's from the book Wellsprings, and I went out. My friend is upstairs. I'll show you later. He's on my Instagram. I went out and I saw cigarette butts, plastic straws, little bits of plastic, pop cans, whatever. And the quote from the Christian scriptures, "What you do to the least of my brothers, you do unto me," just came to me like a bell ringing in the distance. And I looked out at the cigarette butts and I thought, well, fuck me if these aren't the least brothers. So I spent the next hour or so looking around. actually seeing the things that people throw onto the ground. Picking up a cigarette, and looking at how it burnt, smelling it, looking at the wear patterns. Each one different, each one unique, each one beautiful. And I don't have it on me, I did keep it, but the center of the road, smashed over by many cars, was a notebook. I picked it up. It said Cecil Adams on it. And I flipped through it and I saw one thing in it. Just one thing. Later I saw a couple of things. First time I saw one thing. And I flipped to it and it was words in like calligraphy. I thought it said, I for you. And I'm like, holy shit, this notebook is for me. Thank you. And then I looked at it a little bit longer and I realized that in the script, where it looked like there was an arrow pointing to 4, it was part of the L and it said, I love you. And I fell in love a little bit. And ever since then, I pay attention to the things that people throw away on the side of the road. And I fall in love a little bit. And they say to me, nobody ever sees us. Thank you. Anyway, so this St. Louis. This was a hat that I bought because I liked the color red, and then down in New Orleans I was participating in a sewing workshop and they gave us this cool patch and I sewed it on there by hand. It is, I think, the only thing I've successfully ever sewn. I really suck at sewing, but I'm totally down with the Sewing Rebellion Stop Shopping, Start Sewing patch on this hat, and it totally holds the mask on. This was a string that I picked up on the Great March for Climate Action. I liked it, it was cool. It's like red string, right on. I've been enjoying mimicking Amanda Palmer, wrapping it around my hand. This I've had for as long as I can remember. I think my brother John sent it to me at Dancing Rabbit when I had cold hands because they don't have as much central heating and often places are colder, but it still allows for typing. It's made to somewhere upstairs. This is not a costume at all. I was participating after the Great March for Climate Action. I walked from Cleveland Heights to Washington, D.C., and I gave away one of my rain jackets to a man named Tankonium Tank, and I was walking with the folks from Beyond Extreme Energy to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission building, FERC. We were walking in silence, and there was a man who did not have a place to stay, didn't have a rain jacket, it was raining. I had a rain jacket, and I had an extra. It was my last one. I don't know how that worked. Maybe I just decided to get wet. Maybe I don't know, I can't remember, I'll have to think about it. But maybe it was cold that day and rainy the next day. I think that's what it was. It was cold, that's right. So it was a previous day, we weren't yet walking in silence. Met this guy, don't remember his name. I had a jacket, I was warm enough. I gave him my yellow rain jacket that wasn't mine, it was belonged to my dad. And I went and we did our thing. We were loud, we were put out the signs, standing up for people who've been affected by fracking and the stuff going on at Cove Point with natural gas export and all the things that FERC has been doing that we want to call attention to so we can have a conversation about it. That evening, rain was forecast, and I was looking for, a rain jacket, and this trash bag appeared. So if you look on my Facebook, you look on my Instagram, you'll see pictures of me in a hard hat, which again I was wearing because it was raining, which I had used as a prop for being arrested at Cove Point. Wearing a hard hat and this trash bag, and I'm holding a sign that says Maggie Henry, because Maggie was a woman who was displaced because fracking was going on both sides of her house, and an earthquake had fractured her house, and she had an organic farm, and she raised prize-winning turkeys, and she's now an environmental refugee in Pennsylvania. She put us up as we were walking through. And so I wrote her name on a piece of cardboard, because that's what I had, and I stand there, and I'm like, wow, if this isn't the image of the person who loves things that are thrown away and ignored, it's like, I love it, it's great. And I don't just throw things away, even if it is a trash bag, because there's no such thing as trash. And it's not really a very useful bag anymore, because it's got holes and such. So I kept it on me, some fun keepsake. Then I wore it the other day the electric pressure cooker. And I also love that there's that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker comes in and he's dead and he's in a trash bag. It's like, fuck yes, I love the Joker. It's a great scene. It's a great movie. And I was channeling the Joker that evening anyway, as I was doing earlier, you know, so... I wore this. If you watch the video, you'll see me. You don't get to see this image so well. I wore this, and I was sort of channeling the Joker at the beginning of The Dark Knight with the mask down on my left side and holding onto the bag with over my right shoulder. And as the action began, I sang the beginning of Cakes the Distance. You couldn't see this so well. This is an homage to the Chi-Rho symbol, especially the one that's on the videos to the band the Salters. One of my friends, who was one of the main members of the Salters, is also one of the main members of the Carnaval de Resistance, and they have the Chi, and in their image, this is a rho, or it looks like a P, but it's a rho. So you got the Chi-Rho, which is representative of the Christian symbol, the first two words for Christos, Christ, Krishna, whatever. And I turned it into both that and Amanda fucking Palmer, amazing fucking people, fucking amazing people, all the things, you know, because I love Amanda Palmer. Alright, I don't wear that in public when it's raining, because guess what? I still don't have a raincoat. Alright. And last but not least, my face. So my name is, I've forgotten my name. What is my name? What is my name? What is my name? Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. Verily, this visage is no mere veneer of vanity, but a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vilified, and is vowed to vanquish the violent and violent, vermin vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and violation of volition. I need a thing, W. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta held as a votive not in vain, that shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vicious lodge of verbiage veers most verbose. So just permit me to add that it is my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me Amanda, you may call me V, you may call me a loser, you may call me a slut, you may call me whatever you want, but you may call us we. Alright, story behind this fucking thing. So I was walking on the side of the road, and I saw it, just like a week before the electric pressure cooker. And it looks like the Mark I mask, it looks like the Iron Giant mask, it looks like some creepy thing from like some animation. It's probably body armor. Probably it was some part of a car. I don't know. Usually people look at things and they don't register, they don't think about them, they don't think what they could be, they don't think where they came from, they don't think where they're going, they don't think, hey, what might you want to be? But when you start talking, even to the trash, which no one ever talks to, it's like, ooh, 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 hooray, thank you, you know, and talks back. At least if you're crazy, it does. If you're crazy, the trash will talk to you. So, my birth name is Harvey Glassman, and my factor, I'm making the story as they call him. My father worked in a glass factory. My great-grandfather, mosaic making probably. Nah, he was probably an industrial, you know. I've worked as a janitor, sweeping up. I only have one leg. The other one was cancer, cut off. Maybe I'm missing an arm. Maybe it's Harvey Glossman, Harvey Dent. Maybe it's what my parents named me. Yeah. Anyway. That was fun. Peace, guys.